So welcome to all the eminent speakers. I think we need to see that the chances or the opportunities are not there with corporates to make mistakes, because some of the mistake you make today may cost you the existence of very organization. So I think the one thing that comes to mind is that, do you believe that sustainability as a topic is correctly understood by the corporates in India and across the globe?
So it's a very interesting question, and I would actually look at it in two dimensions. So first dimension is again, do corporate and corporate leaders understand it? Now, frankly, if you want to be truly compliant and truly believe in sustainability, there are a lot of concepts and it's sometimes quite technical. So there is scope 1, there is scope 2, there is scope 3, upstream, downstream. There is carbon neutrality and there carbon net zero, and they're different. And then there is an institute, SBTI, which is Science-Based Target Initiative, which actually validates each and every target of the organization. What I believe is a lot of people know some of the nuances of it, but probably not all of us as corporate leaders know every aspect of it. And we did something called as Climate Circle. So it's an event which TED helped us design. We had our employees talk to the leaders and try to understand what does sustainability mean for them. And what came out very strongly is actually they didn't care so much about this scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. But what they really cared is, tell us what does it mean for us and how can I be sustainable?
Very interesting, Ashwin. Now I have a question for Aimer. Aimer, we have seen a situation now where there are customer-led economies. So where it's customer is deciding what they need, how they need. But if you look at it from an economic sustainability perspective, how do you think banking sector can intervene in the acceleration of transition to economic sustainability, or economies which are more sustainable than the way they are growing? How can that be sustained? The sustainability in the economy.
So if you talk to a banker, you need figures. So I will tell you, BNP Paribas as a group for the 3 years to come would like to finance the equivalent of 150 billion euro of loans for sustainable projects. BNP Paribas would like to finance or to help put on the markets the equivalent of 200 billion euro of bonds. And BNP Paribas would like to have in its books as an insurer, asset manager, the equivalent of 300 billion of sustainable assets. Okay. We are completely changing the way we work. Until now, when a client would come, we would look at his balance sheet, his P&L, and we'll say, oh, we like the business, it's good, or it's not good, or we'll take a judgment on the financials. This is finished. This is only one part of the judgments. Now we are going to look at what the client is delivering in terms of ESG, and we are going to rate this ESG. So this is quite new. We are learning the way how to do it, but the credit decision will not be only on risk parameters, it will be also on the ESG parameter, the sustainability.
Thank you, Emma, for that. So I think now we move to LM. LM, your area is, your sector is very different, everybody talks about environment, and then, your sector is there. So if we can just look at what is the global strategy for Total Energies to attain around 2050 vision, where in 2050 vision, I was just reading through a document which says that 50% of the total electricity is going to be 50% renewable energy, which is, to me, is a very aggressive target. So what's the global strategy your company is adopting to kind of achieve the vision?
Thank you very much, Sunil. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I think we should start by saying that energy is at the heart of human activities. That's a fact. So in that sense, supplying energy means also contributing to the economic growth and to the aspiration and the progress of the society. And that is also important. So when we look at the world growing population, the expectation for higher living standards are very high, as well as the raise for the energy demand. So there will be a growing energy demand worldwide. So in a sense, we have to tackle a double challenge here. On one side, we have to, as businesses, we have to have very clear commitment, and I would add actions, to make sure that we contribute to preserve the climate for future generation, but also, on the other hand, we have to meet the growing energy demand. And putting that shortly, it means that in the world as it is progressing today, we need to have more energy, less emission, and be more sustainable, definitely. Thank you.
And I must compliment the kind of report, you know, it's like not just a target. It's like target, you know, set for success. Short term, medium term, long term, very well laid out.
Absolutely.
So I think now let's move to Anish. Anish, your business is very different from these businesses which we talked about. So how have been the sustainability journey in your organization? What's your experience so far?
Yes, thank you, Sunil. Actually, for Sodexo, the sustainability journey started 56 years ago when we were founded, because the vision of our founder, Pierre Bellow, was really that whatever the company does, we should enhance the quality of life of our stakeholders. So we've actually always offered what we call quality of life services. Our climate journey specifically started in 2010, and we were the first company in our segment to align our objectives to the 1.5 degree limit on the rise in temperature from pre-industrial levels. But more concretely, as you said, our business has two pillars. One is on food services and one is on benefits and rewards. And on food services, or in food services, at every step of the value chain, for us, sustainability is very important. And I'll give some examples. So 50% of our carbon emissions are in the food supply chain. So for us, it's really important, first of all, to select the right ingredients which have high nutritional value, but are made in a sustainable way, are sourced from partners and communities that align with our objectives. So for example, in France, 60% of all our ingredients are sourced directly from the producers. Okay? The second part is actually on production. And in production, food waste or eliminating food waste is a key aspect. So we use a technology that we call Waste Watch. So at all our sites, or most of our sites, we deploy this technology which analyzes the food and actually comes up with some ways to reduce that food waste, which is then implemented by our team. So for example, in India, across all our sites, we have prevented food waste to the tune of 1.2 million meals, which in a country like India is actually a lot.
Fantastic. And I think when we have seen that there is a display board near the counters where meal is being served, you know, and then the wastage is kind of displayed, you know, most of the time this also kind of contributes to, you know, people being conscious of it. So I think let's now move to Satish. Satish, you bring a very different legal and compliance angle to the table. So whatever anybody is kind of doing after else, you know, one is kind of a fearful about the compliances, or conscious, I should say, not fearful. So my question to you is that, do you think that the focus on sustainability by corporates is real, or do you think it's more from a perspective of being pursued as being compliant? So do you think it's real, or do you think it's more for compliance?
Thanks, Sunil. Totally different. All other panelists are from the corporate world, but we are the people who
maybe
advise.
Yeah. No, I think it's.
Yeah. So the experience we've had is that in India till about like Ms. Das mentioned, till 2010, the compliance levels were really low. That was how it was perceived. Over a period of time, if you see, compliance has become important. Question is, compliance is the step to sustainability.
Yeah,
If you don't have compliance, there's no sustainability.
correct.
The question is compliance the baseline for sustainability? Has to go beyond the baseline. Because I think what is happening in India, which at least now we see much more different, is
Changing.
at least we tick the box.
Yeah.
There was a time we didn't even tick the box.
Right, but at the same time, now things are changing, as you said, you know.
Correct.
Things have improved a lot. And sustainability, the way I look at it is that it is not only that people are doing it from the sake of compliance, but they already are feeling the need that, you know, they need to do something about it. Because this is changing very fast. So I think let's again get a perspective from Emmer. Emmer, do you think that how it is crucial for a bank like BNP Paribas to kind of lead the way in this field? Because, you know, there are organizations which are early starters, kind of be looked as a leader in this, and this is for a cause. It's not that we are doing it just for sake of doing it.
Well, I believe everybody loves to be a leader in his field. But here it's going beyond that. I think it is a must, and I'm thinking specifically about two typology of stakeholders where we believe to be a leader is very important. One is our employees, and the second one is our clients. So, I mean, honestly, I believe within BNP Paribas, the topics became very sensitive and very important 10 years ago.
Correct.
And the last thing I would like to say on that, to remain in my 3 minutes, is it's always good when you can be a solution provider.
Right.
And not a product pusher. So if you are a leader, it means that you sit with your clients and you say, hey, we have a problem, let's solve it together.
Correct.
How can I find something that can help you achieve your goal?
Correct.
If you are not a leader, then you just copy-paste the product which exists, and that is less interesting.
So let's move to Helm again. Helm, I have a specific question for you, and you can answer it to the extent you can answer. So with the announcement of targets by Honorable Prime Minister Modi for the net zero emission for India by 2017, would you like to talk about a bit on the partnership Total Energies had, you know, recently with the Adani Enterprise for green hydrogen ecosystem? So we all know this happened, but whatever you can share with us, what's the philosophy behind, what's the way forward?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I said earlier that the world is changing, and so India. And India is also a major force when it comes to the energy sector demand, and not only because of the size of India, not only because India has currently the fastest economic growth rate, if I'm not mistaken, including post-COVID, which is absolutely great. And all that is triggering a paradigm shift when it comes to energy sector.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that detailed answer, Ellen. I think I want to very quickly go to Ashwin first and then to Anish. And the question is that how in your respective organization you are using technology to kind of, in your journey to sustainable, you know, ecosystem, how are you using technology? I would want it to be a bit crisp because we should not overstep on the time for the other panelists.
Yes, I'll be quick. And being a technology company, of course, we are very close to it. We have one unique advantage. We own a lot of our own real estate. That gives us a lot of benefits. So we have built a state-of-the-art energy command center in Bangalore. And again, I would welcome any one of you who wants to see it, to come and see it. Some of the CEOs have seen it. What does this command center do? Three things. First, very quickly, it tracks all the energy demand. So using Internet of Things, we are big in engineering. Using Internet of Things, we have now mapped 2,000 of our chillers, HVAC equipment across 30 sites, or around 20 which we own. And each one of them can be tracked to look at their performance, how much energy they are consuming. And not only that, they can be actually calibrated sitting out of the office in Bangalore. The second part is the demand, the supply management. Again, because we have a lot of real estate, today we generate 10 megawatts of solar power on our campuses, covering 30,000 solar panels. Each of these panel is tracked from this energy command center. So at times, if if there is dust on a solar panel, the efficiency of the solar panel significantly drops. From Bangalore, I can trigger in my cooling or sprinklers to remove the dust and get more efficient. And third thing is, again, across our offices, we track almost 700 equipments to monitor the asset performance and usage.
Thank you, Ashwin. Anish, you want to take it very quickly?
So as we know, there's been a digital payment revolution in India in the last few years, and Sodexo's BRS business has been at the forefront of it from an employee benefits perspective, and we have leveraged these rapid innovations in payment technology on our journey of sustainability. So I'll give two quick examples. 5 years ago, we were printing 50 million meal vouchers every month. 50 million. We were running the largest printing operation probably in the country after RBI. And then in 2018, we went fully digital, no more paper. Now that, if I tell you, that may or may not sound that impressive, but consider this. In France, where we have our headquarters, of course, even today, 30% of that industry operates on paper vouchers. So we've really leapfrogged. And another very quick example, we were sending, all of you are, you have credit cards. Till some time back, you'd get these pin mailers, a little bit piece of paper that would come in the post, and we were sending 100,000 of those a month. Now, what banks typically do is you go to the website, or you try to change the pin, but that wasn't great consumer experience. So what we did is, on our app, we had something called the dynamic pin. So every 2 minutes on our app, a new pin is generated, and with this, we stopped entirely the pin mailer. So it was great consumer experience, at the same time sustainable. So yes, as Ashwin said, good for the wallet, good for the planet.
So great, use of technology again. So this, so with that, we comes to an end of this panel discussion. I would want to give a big round of applause to all our eminent speakers. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.